Sony doesn't miss. I'm saying it right here. Sony doesn't miss. Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today, I will be reviewing Uncharted. Now, I know it's another video game adaptation. I know it's Sony. I know it's Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg and, two very, very well-known roles in the video game world. But you know what, guys? I had a freaking blast watching Uncharted. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. I couldn't believe how much fun I was having. This movie, like any other action film, all right? You got to turn that brain off. You got to turn that brain off and just enjoy what you're watching, have fun, get into it with these characters. And that's exactly what I did. Now, they did start the film off with the entire cargo sequence, which was pretty cool. And I was like, oh man, I'm impressed. And then we got into the close-ups with the CGI. Oh, that's when I was like, it's going to be that film. It's going to be that movie where I'm going to enjoy it just because it's a heist film. It's an action adventure. I'm going to like it just because of that. And I won't care what else happens. I won't care about the script. I won't care about the CGI. And that's fine. Sometimes you need stuff like that and it's a-okay. It's still a good time. Just the CGI was so bad. The special effects, you could literally tell that it was a green screen. It was so bad, but like I said, Tom Holland is one of the most charming young actors right now. I love seeing him on screen, but here's the thing. As much as I love him as an actor, I look at him and I see Peter Parker, I see Spider-Man. I feel like I'm just watching Tom Holland do something else. I don't see a character. I didn't see him as a Nathan Drake in this movie. And also, I have not played the video game, so that's a factor. Obviously, I've watched video game trailers, I've watched gameplays, I've watched all that stuff, so I roughly know the look and feel of Uncharted. I'm not saying that I'm obsessed with the video games because there's 6 or 7 of them in the franchise. Obviously, I don't know the character or the storyline that well, but for someone who's just introduced to this, I think they did a fairly good job with what they had. I am such a sucker for heist films, and I feel like we don't get them as much, and they're not as well written as Ocean's 11 or the Thomas Crown Affair. You had such great heist films. Even Tower Heist was good. I have to admit, that was a stacked cast. It was a lot of fun, but they stopped making them that way. I personally didn't think Red Notice was that great. You can peep my review as well, but I didn't think Red Notice was that great. It kind of got lost in trying to make it bigger and better. Wasn't that straightforward, very intricate. I didn't vibe with Red Notice. But with Uncharted, I thought that the pacing was a bit wonky in between heists, which it usually happens because that's where the thrill of it all is. But I do think that watching Nathan Drake at the beginning of this have little moments of flirting with girls and stealing their stuff, or just straight up stealing keys from a security guard, little things like that showed his mind and how he operates. So I think those little things at the beginning of this film was it was really important. There is a flashback to see what happened with him and his brother, which is natural, and we kind of get that emotional connection to Nathan Drake. The only thing that's really intricate in Uncharted is how to execute these heists on screen, or else the storyline is fairly straightforward, as I said. So the script isn't that great. There are some funny moments between Sully and Nathan, but it's still just Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, and I can't get it out of my head. It's they weren't playing characters. So maybe if you got no names, it would have been a bit better and a bit more serious for the franchise. But Tom Holland was so much fun as Nathan Drake. Again, I haven't played the video games. Maybe Nathan's different, and I'm sorry that he's going to be quippy and stuff like that. But for someone who's going in blind, never played the video games, I thought he was a lot of fun, and I'm taking this as a heist film more so than a video game adaptation. Sometimes when people go by the book for video game adaptations like Assassin's Creed, what I mean by that is that sometimes a story can be so intricate and you're trying to really pull from the video game, it doesn't quite work as a film. But in this case, they took the outline of what makes Uncharted great as a video game and then kind of spins it for a cinematic feel to it, which is perfectly fine. I think that's a bit better because this was probably one of the most fun video game adaptations since Sonic, to be perfectly honest. And I know the Sonic's a totally different vibe, but this one just felt fun. They knew it was a heist film first, and I think that was great. Then they kicked it into gear with an action adventure. Like, it was such a nice mixture of genres, and I really liked what they did with it. Again, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that this is like one of the best video game adaptations. Forget that it's a video game adaptation. Forget it. Go into it as like, this is a new movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. This is a new franchise because they did leave some stuff open, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a second one, which I don't mind that because this was a lot of fun. Again, more heist films, more action adventure. And I'm really, really surprised that Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland had pretty solid chemistry. And like, the only downside to this, again, is that Mark Wahlberg was cast as Sully. I didn't really buy that casting. He was the only one that I was just like, it felt weird. Tom Holland felt, you know, a bit more comfortable as Nathan Drake for me watching him for the first time, but it was just a lot of fun watching them banter back and forth, really cheesy lines. But again, once you get into the heist and the execution of it all, that's where the heart of this movie is, and it's a lot of fun watching that happen. Of course, we do find out about Nate and his brother, and, you know, it goes back and forth about when he was a kid and how he was an orphan. They really like tie into the story, and it's basic, but you know what? It worked. So the women were so great in this movie. Teddy Gabriella's Braddock was ridiculous. She was phenomenal, such a badass. I loved watching her. She had great chemistry with Antonio Banderas, who played Santiago, and he is a joy to watch on screen. I missed him so much, and his voice is just so smooth. It's still so smooth and like low, and one of the best voices in the business. I've missed him, and he was great. He was a lot of fun in this. Then you have Sophia Ali as Chloe Fraser, the other thief who is looking for the same gold as Sully and Nathan Drake, and she was awesome. Cast was actually pretty strong. I just love watching my badass women like just kick ass 24/7. So Taddy and Sophia, kudos to you both girls, because you slayed it and you looked fierce doing it. So they were so fun to watch. And this cast was fun. It was a great cast considering that, you know, Mark Wahlberg was miscast, but you know, what can he do? He's miscast, but he's fun with Tom Holland. It's more of like, you know, the other guys type of vibe of a character. But yeah, Uncharted, if you want to turn off your brain and just watch an action adventure and a heist film all wrapped up into one, then definitely make a trip to go see Uncharted. Bring your friends. It's one of those films that like you can just kick back and relax and just watch the action pieces on screen. Since I mentioned the action scenes, a lot of people have been saying, oh, all the action scenes, all the best scenes are probably in the trailer. They are wrong, my friends. These action sequences were executed quite well. They were fun and fancy, you know, very different, and they lasted for a long period of time, but it also felt like you were in a video game at times, especially the cargo sequence. I think they did a really good job covering that from all angles. So I like the cargo sequence. There is a sequence in the third act which blew my mind, and I felt like I was watching another action adventure film that is one of my favorites. I won't spoil it because it's a really great sequence at the end of this film. So many moving parts, and I loved it. Tom Holland is just so freaking charming that you can't take your eyes off of him. The women, again, Taddy, Sophia, top notch. Antonio Banderas coming in, stealing those little scenes, and then Mark Wahlberg just being Mark Wahlberg. All right, that's exactly what this is. Well, that's my review of Uncharted. Sony doesn't miss. I'm saying it right here. Sony doesn't miss. I've been a Sony household since I was a kid. PlayStation's always been my number one. So, I think I should start playing Uncharted. I did rate Uncharted a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. My written review is linked below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.